Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I know you have a great night already with that first match setup. I'm your host, OG Sisano, joined by my co-caster, Cash. It's an exciting time in the College COD League. It's going to be my first time here with you. Cash, how you feeling?
I'm feeling great. Like you said, we've had a good night thus far. Just got off the tail end of a pretty hot game, and we're about to go into some more exciting action. So it's going to be a great night for sure.
A lot of things to talk about tonight and some great teams that are going up against each other right now. It's going to be USF Esports, University of South Florida versus UCF Knights, the University of Central Florida. We're going down to the south for this one, and make sure you pack your Barbies and every sort of beach equipment that you're going to need to get down for this one. We've got a great one, so let's get into the match setup here. Cash, why don't you tell us a little bit, or head-to-head, excuse me. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what these teams have going on against each other right now?
Yeah, so looking at our head-to-head, USF just took a loss a little bit ago to undefeated Florida Gulf Coast, and for them coming off of a loss, it's definitely going to be a mentality reset that they're going to need to put in here coming into the series, because in my opinion, this game is going to be more important as far as how pool play shakes up compared to how Florida Gulf Coast is going to be. They're looking like they're that top team and going to stay there. So a really important one here against UCF, making sure they take care of business. And if you're UCF, you're coming off of 2 weeks off. You're coming off of a bye and a forfeit. So for them, it's going to be a matter of, did they put in the practice necessary in the off time that they had to go up against this team? Are they going to be ready to go and not come out slow or flat? That's what's going to be important for them whenever they come out in this matchup against USF, who, even though they took a loss, did have a game in tonight. So really interesting shakedown for them, looking at their records and things overall. A fairly evenly knit team. UCF may be edging them out a touch more as overall records goes and as far as the other modes go, but still kind of two middle of the pack teams where, again, a win or a loss here can really shake things up as far as standings go.
Yeah, so a lot of things going on tonight, a lot of definitive moments for either teams. And something I want to mention here in our head-to-head graphic here is that both of these teams have very little experience in control. USF only having one map of control so far in their seasonal record. But UCF, like you said, they've been on a bye and an FF, so they have yet to even hit control. So that'll be an interesting one to see when we get to that map 3.
Definitely. Absolutely. And so to dive back into things, we'll go back into this USF roster. So looking at that, we're going to have Vi, Mr. Pig, Napolis, and Mr. Mojo. That's going to be our starters tonight for USF going to this. And if you want to go over our UCF rosters here, we can go through those and see who we're looking at for the other side.
Yeah, on our other side of Florida, we've got none other than Red Guy, Jugina, I don't know if that's how you pronounce that one, AAA Megan, and Chris on God from the side of UCF. So, definitely some interesting players over on that side as of the, of our beachfront here on the side of Florida. But definitely one person that I've definitely been, trying to look a little more into is Chris on God. The guy has definitely been a bit of a outstanding player for their team that I'll be definitely looking out for on their side.
Absolutely, and I'm excited to get into this matchup here tonight, an interstate matchup between University of South Florida and University of Central Florida. Our map set, is going to be a Gavitu hardpoint to kick us off. We're going to go over to a Bocage S&D, a Gavitu control, and if needed, Tuscan hardpoint and Tuscan search and destroy. So just based off those couple of maps, what do you think we're looking at tonight? I think it's a fairly solid map set, but I want to know your thoughts on it.
I think it is a solid map set overall. I think really, like I was talking about earlier, that third map is really going to be a defining factor. With both teams having little to no experience on game mode like Control, I think it'll be interesting to see both of these guys on Gavitu. We have that on Hardpoint, but really, it's going to come down to positioning for this one for me. So really, with both maps, at the end, if we do get towards the end of those map 4 and 5 of Tuscan, I think really Gavitu is going to be our place of comfort for now.
Absolutely, and I think either of these teams can take it the distance, so I would be shocked if we didn't get to those maps 4 and 5, but given those and given what we're looking at for our maps tonight, if you want to give us our home keys to victory, what do we need to see out of USF in order for them to take this one?
Like, look, you gotta play your A game. When UCF, when facing the STU Bobcats, had beaten them in a dominant fashion of 3-0. But this is not a game where they can slip up. The UCF Knights are definitely a lot more of a well-rounded team and very dominant with their gameplay. So I'm going to need these guys to step it up, make sure that they're each playing their roles, no hybrids of any sort, and just really playing some, linear Call of Duty.
Most definitely. And then on the other side of that, for UCF, what do we need to see from them in order to take this series away?
They got to be aware, 100%. USF have at least one map on control, so they're a little bit more experienced. These past 2 weeks that they've been off, it's going to need to prove us if this team could go the distance with the practice that they've had.
Most definitely. I agree with you there. 2 weeks off is quite a bit of time to have to do scrims, and game competition, is different than practice competition. So you got to make sure you keep that edge even while you're practicing. Otherwise, you kind of run the risk of running out flat, I would say, and coming out on a slow start, which is what you don't want against a team like this. You would just want to keep your winning record going and don't want to draw at 3-2, because then you would draw even with USF. And once again, that just plays such a big part in how your divisional placings end up coming out.
Yeah, and most definitely when I think about just both of these teams, it's really going to be the ones to define who's going to be in charge of Florida. Really, you have FSU, but in terms of, being the follow-up, this is really that match. This is the precedent match to put yourself in range to challenge that FSU roster, hopefully.
Definitely. You want to be able to challenge and compete. And like I said, this one could definitely go the distance. It has a potential. I know we saw USF take a 3-0 earlier tonight, but again, based on how evenly matched these teams are as far as standing goes, UCF having a bit more experience and a few more wins, I think they have the potential to push this one all the way. They came off of a loss against FGCU that, FGC is kind of running the top of the pool right now. But having that experience, knowing that UCF is coming in off of 2 weeks of downtime, they can take advantage of that. And if they can come out hot, I think they might be able to get an edge on the team. But UCF have to be able to have an answer for already seeing Southern Florida play tonight, knowing that maybe their morale's a little bit down, but they do have reps in as far as game goes. So for UCF, you got to come out strong and fast.
You got to be dominant. You got to show us that precedent status that you have given us in terms of those first two matches, because when it comes to that USF roster, I would be a little bit worried that if I didn't, take any sort of preparation to just make sure I take this team accountably. I don't want to underestimate them, and I don't want to overestimate them. I want to make sure that I'm doing everything that I can as a team and as a roster, with the practice that they've had. Because, like we had talked about earlier during our, when we were talking amongst each other, was that, it's one thing to not compete, but then it's also another thing to make sure that you're using that practice time effectively.
Definitely. And we've seen that they can compete in both prior to this. Like you said, their wins have been dominant. Whenever they're winning games, it's in a 3-0 fashion, not dropping maps. But then when they lose, we've seen for both teams when they lose, it's also in a dominant fashion. So which team is going to find that balance first? Which team is going to be able to push a series with a better team to a game 5 to give themselves the best chance to win? That's what we're going to try to figure out tonight. And again, both of these teams have the potential to do it. So I'd be very shocked tonight if we don't get pushed all the way. I think either team are going to try to do that, try to get the distance and see whose practice and reps end up paying off more. So if you're UCF, what do you think going into this, knowing FSU lost? What do you think the chat's like going into there? What do you think the team comms are looking like, saying, hey, they just lost one, we're coming up off 2 weeks? What do you think they're sounding like now?
I think really what they're sounding like is, hey, this is our opportunity. This is, like Eminem said, this is the one opportunity, the one shot, to prove it all. And you got to make sure that you're stepping up to the plate, because right now, FSU and all them, there's some big competition in their pool. So I got to make sure if I'm on the roster right now, I'm doing everything that I can to make sure that I'm well-rounded and helping my team out in any possible way that we can.
Absolutely. That's exactly how I couldn't have framed it better, honestly. I really think that's the best way to put it as far as coming out. I'm going to play my role. I'm going to do what I can to support my team and get us the win secured. And we're going to jump into this one now. It's looking like it's actually going to be a Tuscan hardpoint to kick things off for us. So we will get loaded up into this one. And I'm excited. I'm ready, man. This is College COD action. And it's a big matchup. It's two middle-of-the-pack teams who are trying to pull away here in their pool play. Try to create separation between one another. For USF, you're trying to pull UCF to have the same record as you, and if you're UCF, you're just trying to show why you deserve to be at the top of your pool. So this is going to be a really interesting one as we get into it.
I think it will be too, but I believe we're going to Gavatu. So, sorry, ladies and gentlemen at home that are seeing the graphic of Tusk and, just a little bit of something on our part. No, nothing to worry about. But yeah, Gavatu will be our location. So do not even worry. We've got that fixed for you, everyone. But yeah, I think this is going to be an interesting one. With the P1 being such an essential money hill, and then as we get towards P3, towards the back of the boats, it'll be an interesting one indeed. And if these rosters, like you said, if UCF can come out dominant here, I think they will be the ones to take it.
Yeah, gotta come out fast. Gotta come out with a dominance and a precedence. Make sure you don't let off the gas. And USF, again, you take a tough loss early in the night, but I count that as a win in the sense of we have reps on UCF that they haven't had in 2 weeks. It's so hard to mentally stay focused. So this would be a test for either team. For UCF, it's that mental fortitude. Can they keep the mental focus and endurance that they need to get into a good series that they have to walk away with a win after having 2 weeks off? Your season only gets harder from here, right? The games only get more challenging. You've played kind of the easier teams in your division to start off a season, as well as having a forfeit and a bye. And the same thing for USF. The real first test tonight was Florida Gulf Coast, and they ended up losing that one in a 3-0 fashion. So for both teams, it's a statement game. And then also if you're UCF, you want to try to create separation from the middle of the pack of your division. You want to start to pull away, be a for sure top 2, top 3 team going into the second half of this season. If you're USF, it's really the same thing. Though you're 2-2 right now, still plenty of games left to be had, and it starts with a good win tonight against a good UCF.
Yeah, it's really good. I like how you put it there. It's a statement game, really, because both of these teams, we talk about it a lot, where both of them are coming off of a bye and an FF, and it's always an interesting one. So it'll definitely have to be this map. And unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, they did drop the lobby. So, we're trying to get that one fixed as we talk about it. It's Call of Duty, gosh, it's always gonna be some problems, right?
It is what it is. We'll get back into this one as quickly as we can, but just as well, we do have the Alpha channel also still running games, so anytime there's downtime here or something going on, College COD also has a plethora of games and action going on there, and they've had a great night too. It's really been a great night thus far, and we still have 2 games left, or 2 series left, and I think our second one is going to shape up to be just as this one, and I'm itching to get into it.
Yeah, I'm itching as well, but I got to talk about this UCF roster a little bit more as we get into this Gavatu. A lot of people, they're the people's champions, is what I'm hearing. They are the ones that everybody's picking to win this game, and I got to ask you, Cash, what do you think really out of that roster is making them so charismatic?
It's just, how they're winning, and it's just the rapport you can make around the league, right? It's obviously a culmination of what people have seen of them playing and what players have played up against them that can kind of give you the reputation and the stance that you hold in the league with other players, with the fans and people watching, with other coaches, things like that. So obviously this team's got it clicked. They've got it going on. They know what they want to do and stuff. And again, tonight just kind of further is to prove that point. And if you have a team that's gelling and vibing that well, and other teams are getting that read from you, and other teams are recognizing that and kind of giving you praise for it, there's nothing wrong with that, and that's something you can only ride with and work with. It's hard to teach that kind of chemistry and that kind of energy from a team.
Well said. I love that. The vibes are unmatched in terms of overall, and if people can feel that, then definitely they're going to be the ones to want to rally behind you, and I love that about that team. USF though, I feel like it's a bit of a tough one to talk about them because, like we said earlier, there just isn't too much to talk about them with overall. So they're really the dark horse candidate coming into this match.
Definitely, and I think if you're UCF, again, if you're a smart team, you're never going to sleep on an opponent, or you shouldn't at least sleep on an opponent and come and say, well, they just lost pretty handedly tonight. They're probably feeling down. We're just going to laissez-faire, just roll through this one and take the win. No, you've still got to be on your toes and handle this opponent just as seriously as any other, because USF have shown when they win, it is not close. It has been hard points where teams aren't even hitting 100, 200 points against them. So USF has shown dominance. They have shown streaks of playing really well. They've shown dominant S&Ds, though some S&Ds have been more contested. That may be a point where UCF can take advantage and kind of start to take maps off of them. USF is not a team to knock at. They took a tough loss tonight against a really good Florida Gulf Coast. But if you think you're going to come in and say, oh, they took a loss tonight, we'll just kind of cruise through it, that's not going to be the case at all. USF are going to come out and give it their best effort, and they're going to be a little bit heated. They're going to want to rebound off of that loss. They know what they need to improve on. Guns were still probably pretty warm rolling into this one, and UCF, if they're any bit smart, they're definitely going to take this one seriously.
Yeah, they definitely are, and we're gonna be loading in now, thankfully, into the game. So let's get it going. It's been a good one talking to pre-show now, but now it's time to put the proof to the pudding here. So let's see as Chris is gonna be moving into the site with his teammates. Nice little read onto the players on the side. AAA Megan getting a nice two-piece there, and Eugenia, nice pick as well. That leaves that last player on the boat. That's a 4 down. Now players will be spawned up towards mid, and we're off to a ballroom blitz here for this P1.
Yeah, and spawns did end up flipping. UCF players are looking to recognize that here soon around this ring side is players going to get cut down at that P2. Still 25 seconds left on this P1 that UCF has been getting all of that time here to start. And they had a really good 50-yard line established across the map where it ended up flipping USF out. But now that they've been flipped out, they're trying to apply pressure here from the bottom side of the map. And with 10 seconds left, this rotation is going to be going down. Big gunfight here for USF to start to get some points on the board. And if you're UCF, you're just looking to keep the control you've had in the mid-map and just rotate it down to the southern portion here and take control of boat, start getting even more time.
Yeah, the time is ever so essential. 43-2 after that first hard point. That's going to be an interesting one. But right now, we're up into a Napo. He's got a bit of an interesting pick for his weapon here. Definitely going to need to see the effectiveness of this one. I haven't yet to see any player pull out this type of gun. But right now, you look at White Chocolate on a 5 spree. That's going to be huge. There comes Napo, gets the big kill, and now is looking for the second one. But that's White Chocolate is going to get taken down. And now Vi hopping into the site, able to secure a bit of time. This P2, honestly, is such a contest still. P1, you have a bit of a contest, but this one, it's just players just throw themselves in, or right here, you see Chris just immediately coming in through the side and just getting a big shot with that automaton.
Yeah, and they got the break there with plenty of scrap time left to earn, so they're just looking to extend their lead to now well over 30 points. The rotation battle is on its way, and at the moment, UCF looking to win the rotation here, but 2 players going to be coming in from USF to challenge this 1 player on the hill. So UCF are going to be looking to get this early time, a hit coming in from this ring side, and players from UCF looking to cut them off before they can cross over to tank. Eugenia just holding it down from this typical tank spot, soaking up this time. USF looking to make a break here behind some streaks.
Yeah, and here comes a bomb from heaven indeed, and White Chocolate uses it to the biggest effectiveness that I've seen so far from a player in the CCL. Gets a nice 2-piece right there, breaks that site open, but unfortunately, White Chocolate, it's just the age-old problem. You're running out of ammo. AAA Megan, he's going to be on the hunt, and he looks away for a second too long, but it's not going to be of any problem because Vi on the site helps him out. 18 seconds left in this one, and you can already hear these players making their way towards this next hill.
White Chocolate on 4 once again. UCF winning this rotation battle to start. They won it for P2, P3, but behind the streak of USF, they got broken and lost that time. So just like that, Southern Florida are right back into this match, and Central Florida winning the rotation, but it was USF who could break early last time, and the break's coming in now from the front side. We'll see how this battle goes down as it's 3-0 in the feed.
Yeah, and you look right now, you see Red Guy in the back of the hill just holding these spawns. Gets a big kill right there, but Mr. Pig, he's going to be coming in big. Gets that one. Now they secure the spawns, but players are coming in from the back as well. UCF, they're in for a kill. That's AAA Megan. He gets that one. Napo gets Chris. Then Mr. Pig holding the back as well. 30 seconds left, and it looks as though USF were able to flip the lead into their favor for now, but UCF are on the hunt. Chris gets a big kill on Mr. Pig, but unfortunately slides into Vi. That's not a very effective child. This is in BO4, my friend, but AAA gets taken as well. Napo, but it looks as though USF, they won this hill and even break that 100-point threshold first.
They do, and Central Florida have only got about 20 points since P2, where you had mentioned it was a 50-some-odd to 2-point lead. So USF have been on an absolute tear since P3 popped, and they got the break behind those kill streaks. Now it's going to be UCF that have to break in here to this P5. Again, a potential money hill, but it's hard to get the positioning and the footing to actually get time on this hill. We're going to see the first 10 to 15 seconds go by without any presence on it. Right now, UCF in control, looking to carve back about a 30-point lead, and these USF players are trying to come through the tank. They're making their way now, and it's going to be a two-player hit from the front.
Yeah, you're gonna see right there, big fight right there towards the side, but oh, AAA Megan comes in, spawns up, gets that one. Now you have Mr. Pig in this very essential spot on the top of the boat, but Jujina is gonna be able to rip him off of that one. Red guy just chillaxing in the hill, not too much pressure, has his team covering him up pretty well, and now we see a bit of a fight going on towards the mid. That's gonna be Vi though, and Napo gets taken one on Chris, but White Chocolate, he looks and he finds the big one onto Jujina, and that's a 3 down for the side of UCF, and there you go. Hill's gonna be switched back in favor to South Florida. Now White Chocolate, gets stuck in a bit of a pinch.
South Florida get the scrap time, and they also get the rotation over to P1. It's going to be 2 players trying to come from the front here to break in. But from USF, I'm satisfied with how that goes. You've been winning the scrap time battles, and you've been winning the rotation battles. Unfortunately, broken early by UCF here to start early, as the next hit's about to come in. But they have the lead, and UCF is looking to close it down, but they've been able to break very well. It's a very evenly drawn game between these two teams. It's usually the second set of hills that we start to see teams pull away, and right now it's anyone's game. UCF looking to pull away early.
Yeah, and I'd like to mention there what we talked about earlier with UCF needing to come in hot, and they were doing pretty well. But right now, it seems like P1 is their bread and butter. They know how to defend it ever so essentially. And right here, you see immediately, they just have that awareness. So I really think that P1's just going to be their bread and butter from now on. But with this P2, they've been struggling with a bit right there. But Red Guy wins that one at a very close range with Automaton. And really, UCF just need to keep that slaying going on.
Yeah, they need to keep the slaying going on, and they need to keep the streaks alive and active. But like you said, P1, it's definitely been their hill. They now have a 30-point lead once again. It's just this P2 that they couldn't get too much time on, and the P3 that they absolutely lost it. So that's the improvement I need to see out of UCF. The second set of rotations, they need to look to hold on to time and hold off these waves of breaks. Again, it's a fight around the hill, but it's USF actually getting the time. No one for UCF can get on it. They have the rotations to P3. It's shaping up to be the same thing as the first time around. Can UCF clean up their breaks? Can they clean up the holds and not let a streak come through and break them, or a big play?
Yeah, AAA Megan had a big spree right there, even getting a glide bomb secured for the team. But right now, it's just really trying to, fight off the rank and file that's trying to move in from USF, and they do pretty well job. And right there you see they immediately rotate Red Guy, immediately getting that Chal off the rotator. But White Chocolate, he's gonna be trying to get Chris, but that was a scary one right there. Always a scary one when you run out of ammo. But hey, UCF already in control of the new hill. They've got that rotation early, so you're going to be rewarded with at least 20 seconds. But off screen, that's a 3 down. UCF leave one player in as Jujina, who's got nothing left but just that boat cover, just trying to hold him off. But Napo breaks the hill, and now we're going to need a big chow from the side of UCF as they all spawn out.
Big chow from UCF, but it's still USF again breaking early and getting time on this hill. Right now it's kind of up in the air as the spawns did flip out in favor of UCF as we look to go towards, once again, this P4 side. They've been winning that, and now, but the difference this time around is that they're getting the time on P3 that they weren't getting last time. They got broke from the streak and could never recover. This time they have recovered. That's why they have such a big lead, now growing over to 60 points, over the 200-point mark. If you're USF, it's panic time. You can't start throwing lives at it, but you've got to start winning the rotation, and that's something UCF have had this entire game. Now as we go over to P4, it looks firmly in control of the Knights.
Yeah, the Knights are doing pretty well. Chris right here on a 5 streak gets his glide bomb as well. So now if he can get this player off rotation, which he does, that's going to give him full streaks, which will be ever so essential to just holding the rest of this hill. Because right now, these players on USF, they're just fodder for this guy. But White Chocolate going to immediately respond in kind, and now 230 to 167. This is really the last attempt that they can really make to try and chow this hill. Chris even throws in the glide bomb and gets the player off of the hill.
That glide bomb was huge because Napo made a player on the back and got the player of UCF off the hill and ended up breaking it. Even though the close spawns weren't for UCF, that was definitely able to spell danger. But yeah, if you're USF, it's danger time. You've got to get the last 16 seconds of this hill time. You've got to win the rotation to P5, which you don't have, and all while trying not to throw lives individually at the hill, because then you're just getting cut down. So this is UCF's map 1 to lose, as we're going to see this hill pop in about 5 seconds, and they've just got to play airtight hardpoint, close this one out, and get on to map 2.
Exactly, and you already see UCF once again, time and time again, win that rotation. There's not going to be enough time to even get onto the hill. So this is a UCF dub. That was well deserved. It was a bit of a mixy one. You saw at the beginning they were ahead by quite a bit of a margin, at least a hill and a half. But then immediately you saw UCF just start playing the mind games. They were getting those rotations on point. They were making sure that they had residents in this new areas of interest. And when you look at the side of USF, they were really just playing catch up after that second set of rotations.
Yeah, it felt like UCF maybe started off a little flat, like we were worried about, but for how quickly they made the adjustments that they needed to on that second set of hills, that was really good and telling for UCF that, hey, we're prepared, we're ready to make the in-game adjustments that we need to. And for me, it started on that P3. Again, an unfortunate glide bomb that got them off of it the first time. They just couldn't break back. Well, they got broken on that same P3, but ended up getting it back with still 20 seconds left, and that's where their lead started to grow and start to get monumental and start snowballing as the game went on. So having a look at these stats here, I mean, White Chocolate, you can't ask for much more. 32 and 22, 24 non-traded kills. Definitely the kill leader for the squad of Southern Florida, but fairly even slaying on the side of the UCF Knights. Eugenia maybe with a little bit slower game than they would have liked, but nothing that can't be turned around behind the slaying of the other three players. And so looking good. If you're UCF, you come out as a squad, you play and slay pretty evenly. It's not even like they outslayed by that much, really. But it was that collective team effort, winning the rotations, and then making that adjustment on the second set of rotations that won them that game. So really good teamwork to see out of them. The Gunnies are only getting warmer, too.
Exactly. And what you just said, the teamwork, ever so essential right now. You really got to think about it like this. When you're looking at these stats, both sides, they just have such a story behind them. If you read in between the lines, UCF, a very stagnated, sort of, stat line where they were in the 20s. But then you look at the other side of USF, and you only had one player popping off. You can't really rely on one player. You need to work as a team, get those rotations like you said, and make sure that you're working all around together. So a very big applause and very typical performance out of UCF to, win that map one.
Definitely, and like you were mentioning for Southern Florida, it can't be behind the effort of one player. Maybe it was a slow start for them, but White Chocolate's going to need some help tonight if they're going to try to come back and not only take this map too, but extend this series out as far as needed to get the win. So if a few more players heat up, which I anticipate that they might and definitely want to, that's going to be a difference maker for Southern Florida. White Chocolate's got to stay on his game, keep playing, and keep frying like he is. But again, the teamwork, even though only one player I think went positive for Central Florida, the teamwork did it. So you got to keep doing that same teamwork. It carries over to Search and Destroy, not just respawns, right? You've got to play it in S&D. You've got to be decisive and work as a team. And so since we've already seen such flashes of teamwork and decisive decision making in their respawns, I know they're definitely going to carry that over into S&D, where again they have more reps than Southern Florida, like we mentioned, especially going into the control as well. So Southern Florida just have to take this, collect their breath, have a little bounce back. They only lost by like 60-70 points, not too crazy. It was competitive up until those last couple of hills. So I think if you're USF, you can bounce back. It's just got to start here, one round at a time.
Yeah, one round at a time indeed. And when you look at Bocage S&D, it's really about positioning. And, we talk about it in that last map. Who won those rotations? It was UCF. So I'm really looking at UCF to maybe, keep that momentum going, keep showing us that game awareness that they have. Because, yeah, like you said, USF, they need to hit a big regain. There needs to be a mental reset. Hey, we lost that last one by a hill or two, but that doesn't mean that we're out of the series just yet. We can still keep our dog in the fight, and so that's what I'm expecting out of USF, is that regain, a mental reset, and definitely some stamina and tenacity shown.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so before we jump into this Bocage S&D, we're going to jump over to a quick break. Once again, College Caught and things on the Alpha stream, so you can go over and check them out. But we're going to take a real quick break here while this lobby gets set up, and we'll be back in just a few minutes.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I know we had a short break. Hope you had some fun on the Alpha stream, but we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Bravo stream, up and Adam, USF versus UCF. I'm your host, OG Susana, with my co-caster, Cash. It's going to be a great one, Cash. We're now getting ready. We've heard that the players are all ready to go. They had that mental reset. They were getting their sips of water and the little bit of some coach's advice,
Yeah, we're jumping into this Bocage S&D, and like you said, behind hopefully a little bit of a mental reset and regain for USF. For UCF, it's just pats on the back, and let's pick up where we left off as far as that map one went. So Like you mentioned, positioning ever so important in a map like Bacage. It's so small and there are so many corners to check. If you can find a ratty off angle and just really play to the other team's mistakes that they're making, that's what can win you these S&Ds. So I'm looking to see UCF just play around the mistakes that they can force out of USF. And if USF slow the game down, get it to your pace, get it to where you want, and definitely on offense, get those quick plants, right? Get as much of an advantage as you can with the clock, with the life count, get the first bloods and get out. All that happy jazz that we talk about with search and destroy. Need to see out of USF, see them make those mid-game adjustments. If you're UCF, same thing for you. Just keep that gas on the pedal and or keep that pedal to the floor. Get it going and don't look back.
Yeah, this is not the time to let up on either side. Some players needing to, pick it up. Maybe a bit of some teamwork. Talk during that break from the side of USF. But now let's load into this Bocage S&D. A big fight towards mid. Looks like it's going to happen here pretty soon with all players from UCF just getting aggressive with it.
Really aggressive through the mid-map here, just trying to get information and clear out this possibly A side is what we're looking at, though we see two players kind of floating down for that south portion of the map.
Oh.
First blood is going to go the way of red guy and going to be untraded. So if you are UCF, that's a good way to get out with your life. Finally, the trade does end up coming in, but now that stagnant play that we see in this mid round, who's going to make the next mistake and where's the bomb going to rotate?
Yeah, the bomb right now is currently towards the back of the mill, but you do see red guy. Oh, he does pick off that the player Vi is there, but hey, you chow that with a low HP, so you expect that outcome, right? Now red guy Chris being the last two players alive here. Chris, unfortunately, has not been able to see any action yet, but red guy on a 2 streak, and they plant the bomb. This is going to be an interesting one with silent plant only being for the planter / diffuser. So a sense of security, more like a sense of false hope right there.
These players just watching each other's corners. Love that they're playing together. Don't give Mr. Pig 2 1v1s because that's something that he can definitely take. And them playing the trade like that is just how they're going to take that round. So once again, the teamwork showing its face for UCF. Playing really smart, not trying to play for any big plays, and nice effort out of Mr. Pig just to try and get something done there. But good offensive round for UCF to take off the board.
Yeah, something I'd like to mention there. He just really jumped into the hornet's nest there. You jump in, and that just really shows the clarity of mind from the side of UCF, really, where you had 2 players ready to go for trades inside of positioning. I'm glad we called that early on because clearly UCF, they know what to do.
They know what to do, and a bit slower gameplay on the offensive side for Southern Florida. They're just going to hold this barn position. And again, they know UCF got aggressive in that mid-map on offense. Maybe trying to see if they can force that same aggression out of them here in the mid-map. Playing back, letting them make mistakes. So I like it out of USF, right? This is their pace. This is how they want to play the game. They want to make UCF get antsy and come to them. And maybe we'll see that here in a few minutes. But right now, the bomb just holding steady. They're just waiting for any kind of movement, any kind of overzealous play from UCF to force first blood.
Yeah, no overextensions from UCF as of right now, but AAA, he's going to be moving in, and Chris gets one. White Chocolate picks off AAA Megan, and now you have a nice little trade-off in the mid, but you know where these players are now, because it wasn't exactly a trade-off in terms of players, but it was a trade-off in terms of manpower. So right now, White Chocolate is going to be moving in, and Jujina, oh no, does not see the player. And you also have that player on top of farm helping out as well. And Jujina gets away with their life. That's amazing. And Chris immediately following up with a 2-piece. What the heck was that? Now, Napo going to be moving in, trying to find this player, Chris, who's on a 4th streak. Doesn't want to give him it, but he finds him from the back.
What was good intel and great heads-up play from USF turned disaster as Jujina on skates gets out with his life. And Chris is able to get 2. That's the worst case scenario if you're Southern Florida. You waited, you killed the clock to try to get them to get overzealous. Got the first blood, but it got traded. And then after that, once UCF knew they had the life advantage, knew what that last player was, you just saw all 3 players flood and collapse at that final player. So they know when they want to play aggressive. And right now, UCF's just 1 step ahead.
Man, that was such a beautiful finesse right there. All right, now we see once again a battle of wit and endurance here. Just who's gonna overextend? AAA Megan, he doesn't know, but he has 2 players on him right now. Napo from the side of the alley, but they also have that player towards the mid. That's White Chocolate. So really, whoever just gets a little bit too aggressive here will get that 1 player off angle. So right now, Chris and Co. moving in towards this left side, towards the tanks. Nobody really contesting him just yet, but Chris does have a nice position on Mr. Pig, but nothing just yet. AAA now in the side. Eugenia, nice little trade right there. Mr. Pig gets that big kill onto Chris, and there you go. You stop that Slatage and immediately make sure that there's no streaks involved.
You get the players cut down that you need, but AAA Megan, instead of going to get the bomb down, is opting to play for the kills. They just want to slay this team out this round. Why not? You're up 3-1 in life advantage. White Chocolate's going to pick off one. Now that's going to be bombed down in the mid-map, so these players have to play around that with the clock working against them. So maybe the play to go for the kills did not work out in the advantage of Central Florida. The bomb is going to get picked up and taken B. Now if you're USF, it's about the 1v2 retake. How does UCF have to play it? I'm going to say pretty similar to how they did the first time.
Yeah, exactly. Right now, White Chocolate, he's just, he might end up being in that position where he gets put in the blender. But Eugenia, gets shot. But Red Guy's going to be able to shoot him from the back. So with 28 HP in a dream right now, he's going to try and move in. But like we said, that positioning ever so present right now. Looks as though Red Guy is still going to be in that top nanny position. Not going to be giving it up anytime soon. So White Chocolate, unfortunately, does not do his due diligence and check that top position. So Eugenia is in there to make the play. And they do. UCF now on their 3rd round in a row.
This next round's feeling like a real must-win if you are Southern Florida. You do not want to let this one get any closer to closing out. You've got to try to get some momentum. Get an offensive round win, right? Get the bomb down. Again, like I had mentioned prior to the map starting, get any kind of advantage that you can. That's going to be the clock. Get the clock ticking with bomb down. Force UCF to have to play around that. You tried to play a slow offense the first time around. That didn't work out in your favor, so maybe try a fast one. We'll see if they switch up the pace as a player does forget the bomb, but we'll see if they end up going a little bit faster here to try to get something worked out in their favor as far as time goes.
Gotta love those destructibles, I bet Mr. Pig is thinking. But Chris and AAA get a nice 2-piece right off to start the round. Looks as though there goes the 3rd. That's going to be AAA Megan making some big plays there. Napo realizing there are hungry dogs all around him. Gets one player, immediately moves in towards the Zeg. Going to be looking for the second player. Maybe an overextension of sort, but he does see the gun barrel. Takes out Eugenia. Now he's on the move, but he gets stuck on the door. And UCF so aggressive. Take that round.
It was a nice attempt to try and get that one, but Megan just having their way on the map at the moment, especially that round. I believe got 3 on the round there. So for USF, again, another offensive round that didn't pan out how you wanted it to, and it starts with them just giving up the first bloods. Chris doing really well with that. AAA Megan on top of the first blood game as well. Every player has really pulled their weight for Central Florida as far as giving themselves an advantage in the early round. In the kill department, USF struggling, especially Vi with a donut on the board. Got to start to get something going there if you're that player.
Yeah, and you do see right there, White Chocolate did get a big kill on the Eugenia. So really, yeah, Vi needs to step up big time. Mr. Pig gets a big kill on the AAA, and now Chris gets the shot on Vi. Unfortunately, just prey to the positioning from the side of UCF. And now it's a 2v2. They've equaled the odds. Red Guy 58 HP unfortunately goes for an aggressive push here, but it looks as though Mr. Pig, he did see that player moving from the back, and Red Guy unfortunately gets caught to the mantle, gonna get taken down. So now they know where Mr. Pig is, but looks as though Chris immediately gets him off angle. You would think a player who would get one off would, be able to think a little bit of methodically ahead. But hey, no worries at all, because Chris 7-2 goes up against Napo, who's 3-4. Very confident, I believe, from the side of UCF. The roster feels right now, but the bomb is towards mid, so you're gonna need to maybe make a rotation here and get this player off.
I'm not sure if maybe Napa's making the step ahead play by knowing bombs down and just holding A for the rotation, but Chris gonna wait this one out. It's gonna end up going down B, as now Napa's gonna realize, okay, not coming here, it's gotta be B. I'm gonna work the retake. Chris is gonna take off, and this battle's gonna go down on this backside of the map, I feel.
Ooh, but Napo might be taking the tunnel here. So, Chris now feels the shots, feels the heat on him. Gonna go for a more tactical position now. He knows his player's in tunnel, so you can play off of that. 28 seconds left, and he's just playing mind games with them, just making him waste time. Napo, though, he's just waiting around, looking for it, and he's gonna go stick the bomb. Chris, though, immediately hears it and goes for the kill. UCF gets that 5th round, and now we're close to a match point.
At match point, and What you had mentioned with the kill on Tank over on the top side of the map, USF just not playing with that much map awareness. You get a kill and just kind of hang out in the middle of the map. Don't try to sprint to cover. We're right there. Napo got shots into Chris, and Chris took off running and just got away. Didn't even try to chow, didn't try to hang around to find out what's going on. Took off for more tactical play. Made Napo have to check everything to figure out where that's going to be. And so right now, again, UCF a step ahead, and USF to themselves are a step behind and just not playing with as much map awareness as they need.
Yeah, it's really faulting right now. That's really what's doing them dirty right now. And Vi, he's got the bomb. He's going to be moving over towards this B, but Chris, he's just ready to go. He knows what to do, but there you go, Vi. Now putting one up on the board, gets a kill on the AAA Megan. Unfortunately, though, but Chris is ready to go, gets that kill. Now, 3-2. Mr. Pig, he's been found now. They know where he is with this stun, and, you know, with plays like that, Eugenia immediately comes in from the right, and now it's a 3v1. Sharks smelling the blood in the water.
Sharks smelling the blood in the water is now it's a matter of collapse. They're just starting to close down these portions of the map. Bomb going to be down, and they know it. They're just going to hang out around it, wait for Mr. Pig to show up, and give him the gunny as they now collapse on this little shack.
Oh!
Wait!
Oh! Oh my goodness, that was so close. It looked like he had it. He really did.
That was a close one, much closer than you would have wanted, but again, with 3 players having to be taken down, it was just one too many. And who is it? None other than Chris, who finishes that one 10-2, over 1,000 damage dealt in that search and destroy. They take it 6-0. So USF, you lose by 60, 70 points. Not too bad of a margin in the map 1. You lose in a clean sweep in the map 2. And then if you are going into this map 3, you have no control reps. How are you feeling if you're USF going into this map number 3?
You know, I'm thinking to myself, hey, look, everybody, take a break. Just tell them the lobby's messed up, and I'm getting in the huddle. I'm getting in the huddle. Just
Absolutely.
You know, tell the producers. Yeah, I'm telling the producers. But you know, before I say that thought, let's get into these stats right now because yeah, Chris, the leader of this map, 10-2, 1,000 damage. Whoo! Man, that don't make you want to slap your mama. I'll tell you what. That is just beautiful to see out of him. And really, the all-around great performance out of the guys at UCF. You look at the other side on USF, and, you know, White Chocolate, who was leading that HP on the back burner, 3-6.
Yeah, nothing crazy for White Chocolates and the search and destroy. Nothing crazy from really anyone on USF. Mr. Pig drawing the best at 6-6. Vi only got 1 kill in the last round there, so... again, slow starts that are kind of sticking for these players on USF, unfortunately, and UCF coming out hot, coming out off of 2 weeks off, and you wouldn't know. They're playing really well, and again, I like their tempo. They seem just really composed and really in tune, and I know we had talked about that even in the pregame, how, you know, they're kind of fan favorites and the team of the people as far as the roster goes, and all of that is being put on display here in this series. They look very fluid on the map, comfortable. They look like they trust each other to take the gunfights that are presented to them. So no complaints for UCF. They look great. Their S&D was wonderful. And now knowing that I have control reps, period, on this team, of course they could be scrimming it, but as far as actual matches go, you do have games in on them. Not many. I think it was even just one or two maybe.
Yeah, it was 1, and it was a loss.
Yeah, it was 1. It was a loss. So you do have 1 gameplay experience on it, and it is a loss. But knowing that USF has none, maybe you take that to your advantage. And let alone forget the stats of control and how many they've played thus far. Just look at how the series is going. You're playing fluid. You're looking well. You aren't needing to slay out because your teamwork is doing everything for you. So I think if they need to slay, they can turn that up. But the teamwork's getting it done. And again, control being such a teamwork heavy mode, I don't expect this to go any differently for them. Yeah,
it'll be an interesting one indeed. And you look at those first 2 maps, 250 to 184, and then a 6-0 victory from UCF. Yeah, I like how you said it. They're playing fluidly. It's like they're moving water right now. They're just immediately just breaking that foundation on the side of USF. And like I was talking about earlier, you know, before we talked about stats, you got to get your head in the game, you know. You got to get in that huddle. You got to talk to each other. Hey, Brodies, what's happening? What's going wrong? You know, as a former player myself, when you're in these moments where you're down 2-0, you know, you gotta have that major maniac in your ear. You know, you got to think, hey, it's never chalked. I can win this, you know.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And just for me, I have to see so much improvement out of them for that to happen. Not saying it's impossible. Again, it's never chalked until the series is over, but
Yeah.
looking at their hard point mistakes, okay, I need to see them win rotations. I need to see them win the slaying battle, give some assistance to White Chocolate. And the search and destroy, I need to see better map awareness. I need to see more decisive gameplay from them. They kind of just were stagnant and indecisive on their offenses. And on defense, they had no answer for the first blood. So going into a control where no one has seen them play on, have to string together the rotations from respawns. You have to string together the decisiveness from S&D. They've got a lot of work to do, but again, it's doable. And they've already played on Gavitu this series. It was a pretty competitive one right up until the end. They can do it. It's just we've got to see it strung together from USF.
Yeah, and I really, coming from a player background, if I'm UCF right now, I'm cracking jokes, I'm having a good time. Everybody's having a good time overall, and with a 2-0, dominant victory like that, it makes no wonder to think that, hey, maybe this Gavitu control might just come off the shoulder real quick.
Yeah, you definitely want that energy. You want that, light atmosphere, definitely in the camp if you're them, and you wanna roll it off like you said, real quick, get it done and over with, and continue on with your night. You don't want to let up though. You don't want to let some slip ups happen. If someone gets warm on the side of USF, which is again very possible, we've seen it in their dominant wins, right? Whenever someone pops off, that can spell trouble. So you don't want to take it too lightly. You don't want to let off before the thing is done and dusted. So for USF, we just need to see one or two more players heat up in this respawn, some teamwork come together, and they can definitely make this one a series. But if you're UCF, like you said, keep the vibes rolling, keep the gunny rolling, and the slaying going, and they'll be just fine.
Yeah, and you see right there, AAA Megan just checking himself out, having a bit of a relaxing moment in the spawn screen right there. But hey, Georgina immediately picks up the kill onto Mr. Pig, and White Chocolate doesn't realize it, but he's playing parallel to two players right now. So he's going to need to, maybe get one of these players. But, he goes on the rotation, immediately gets Red Guy. Very nice play, 27-27. No indication of hill control from either side. But, hey, you see right here, Mr. Pig, great pick, but going to get picked instead by Red Guy. Chris on God gets another one onto Vi. And 44 seconds and no hill indication still. So this is going to be an interesting one as they get on now.
Yeah, they were just playing for that map position, trying to just get clearance to jump on this 8-pointers. Now they stack it, and you can see it is flying. And so as they continue to slay these players off, UCF have to jump on this quickly. This Eugene is going to try to make a play on that open front side of the boat. That's going to be 3 down and clearance on the hill. Just White Chocolate's left for the squad. Trying to keep streaks alive, trying to keep map presence felt for USF as they're going to get wiped without quite getting 2 points. Now with 30 seconds left, you've only got 1 tick of progress. You got to make a play towards the top side of the map, what they're looking to do. And now it's going to be UCF closing in on your spawn.
Yeah, you do have Napo right now getting onto this B site, but you do have 3 of your teammates just getting shredded in the spawns. You look at it, it's a nice linear line just holding them down, but I would at least send somebody, hey, we got somebody at B. There's been a tick already secured. I get we want to take the lives, but let's get that player off of the influence of the hill.
Yeah, UCF don't really care. It takes 45 seconds to get it on your own, and maybe they will. It looks like they're now finally sending people that way as 2 ticks of progression are secured for USF. This player over here just trying to get it done. Like, hey, I'll chill out in the tank until the time comes that someone tries to shut me down. But again, 19 seconds left. You're down 6 in the life count. Now you have someone on A, but you've got to get this one finished. Because right now UCF are just slaying their way across the map. They go, handle business at B. They're about to come over and try to do the same thing at A. Can USF hold on?
Man. And there you go. Now you have 2 sites with both at 2 ticks, and that might be the indication that, hey, maybe we can get a player on and just get that last tick. But right now, UCF position so present, and they're gonna take that round 1. A very strong defense, a little bit of some oversight. I will say that B site honestly was almost secured. It was a little bit too close for comfort. I don't know. What do you think, Cash?
See, I don't hate that play. It takes 45 seconds to secure. I mean, you saw that the round ended 16-4 in live. I think they were just like, hey, even if they get it, we trust that we can slay out. If they could chop those players, which they were very much doing, off of spawn, yeah, we'll let 45 seconds pass, and maybe worst case scenario, they get that point and have to come over to B. I think it was, I don't hate it because they were slaying so well and just in position to cut those players off spawn. So like you said, could be seen as oversight, could not, but I don't hate that play from UCF with how they're playing, especially right now.
Yeah, exactly. They're very dominant, but it was a bit of an interesting one from my side at least. But hey, red guy immediately fighting that player on top of the boat, but he's gonna be Mufasa down to the bottom. So you have now Jujina holding this with full streaks here. Going to be able to use those effectively here in just a second. But just like that first round, we want to have some map control for the offense. You do have one player on that A, stopping the time and progressing the ticks. But hey, Jujina still on the top gun, going to be able to get one player off of the red windows, but nobody else really able to contest. And that bottom being such a razor blade, because you have two players that are just cracked and ready to go that just stop the players from even getting on.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Jujina just on a 7 streak, 15-2. This is unbelievable gameplay. They cannot now finally get him cut down from there, but 2 ticks of progress, nearly 3 in if you are UCF. And on the top side of the map, the battle's been won. Player 5 is going to creep to his ringside. They have control here as USF are really trying to look and get this A point shut down, but now that it's captured, you have a minute 44. You've got a nearly 10 life advantage sitting at 7. Now you're working to cut your way across the map. If they win this break behind the streaks, they could put this round away here.
Yeah, they really could, and especially on an offense where this map is so defensive heavy. So really being pioneers in their own gameplay and just being dominant. So right now, red guy, as you can hear from above, glide bomb coming into effect, but looks as though it's going to land on Mr. Pig. Great play that makes that left lane more available of access. Now you're going to have Jujina once again on this top gun position, but White Chocolate gets the kill on a Chris, stops that movement, but Jujina goes for the strafing run, but not going to happen.
USF trying to hold on. Life count now at 10. That's just been what's hurting USF, is that they cannot keep the slaying even. That streak is not going to connect, so if you're USF, that's good. You just got to work and get positioning. Try to clear these players off, do what you can to get them cut down and off of this hill time. That's exactly what White Chocolate's going to do. The respawn king himself doing it all for USF to keep them in this. AAA Megan trying to get control of this ring site for the team, as they're going to have to work up and across. Only 1 tick of progression. 55 seconds left, and you have now under a 10 life advantage. They've got a couple more pushes at this with the time alone, and if White Chocolate's in the tank, I'm not sure you're getting through that easy.
Yeah, it's going to be a hard one to break indeed, but with 8 lives and 15 on the side of UCF, man, they're a bit more comfortable, I would say, in this position. But right now you have red guy running the flank, but just been a bunch of, chows where he just was going for it, denied it, just went for another one, didn't go for it, and then there you go, he went for the hill and it just didn't happen. 25 seconds left, and while you are up in the man count, there's just been no, really big movement towards the hill, and Napo and Mr. Pig stopping those players indeed, and 15 seconds left, and it's not looking very, good for you on this second round.
Yeah, really weird given how the first round went. I get it, it's an offense, and Gavitu is definitely a defensive-heavy map, but it really hasn't seemed like a collective push from UCF. Like you said, it's been one-off chows. Red guy got through the back. Unfortunate lack of trigger discipline, exposed his position and got him killed, but it didn't really seem like a forefronted push from the side of UCF, so they are going to drop around there. USF will take a defense, and maybe that's some wind in their sails that they were much needing to keep their hopes alive in this series. But we're going to go back. USF on offense. We'll see if UCF find themselves in a lull, or can USF really get this momentum going. Now, Mr. Pig on a 5, that's big, because streaks can open this game up. It can open that B side up, so we'll see how they opt to go here, where they decide to take, and if that streak comes into play.
You also have White Chocolate as well on a 6 streak, so that'll be helpful for them as well. You do see,
Definitely.
He's got that glide bomb in hand, but you do see right now AAA Megan stops the streak immediately. No no strafe run for him. Well, Mr. Pig, he's still up and alive, and he gets that strafe run, but red guy going to be able to stop that one immediately. 26 of 29 as this break not looking very strong for the side of USF, but hey, UCF, they immediately put themselves in the right position, but unfortunately, it's just too many cooks in the kitchen for none other than AAA Megan.
Player 7, Chris, just holding this ring side, holding this top side of the map, making sure these players aren't trickling through, knowing that their teammates got it handled on the other side of the map. Now a pinch going to be worked in, and great play from Chris just to cut these players off at their spawn point once again, just to have that pinch ability to be able to keep them tucked right in this bottom left corner of the map. AAA Megan on a 3 streak, and Chris on a 3 streak as well. AAA Megan, the Megan to the Drake and Josh of USF, just a thorn in the side of the Southern Florida team right now, as they are unable to get anywhere on the map. We'll see if streaks come in to break something open, but with 23 seconds left, you're looking in the same position as you were in round 1.
Yeah, and you know, Chris has that straight front as well, so he could definitely use that. But Mr. Pig, here comes that bomb, but he's going to be able to get a player that's not really, you know, helping any sort of influence on that side of the map. But hey, you still get a player regardless. But right there, immediately Mr. Pig goes for one. Second one, a little bit too much to chew. Now, 9 seconds left on this one, and AAA Megan, like I said, just a thorn and a nuisance. And you throw this glide bomb, which is interesting because nobody's even near to get onto the hill, so that was a bit of a waste.
A bit of a waste, and again, showing just that lack of control rep, that lack of awareness of just knowing what to do, the decisiveness, everything. Like I said, I've been pulling on, you know, these portions all night, but it's really flashes of the same thing from Southern Florida that we've been seeing. It's just they don't look too comfortable. And again, I get 2 weeks off. We'll do that. A bye and a forfeit. Yeah, that's not you know, regular season game time, but scrim time and stuff like that. I'd like to see more from them. As far as that goes, the streak usage and everything confusing in that sense. And again, just slow slaying on the side of USF also isn't helping. Now, they played a really great defense as we see UCF try to come up this top side and take control. Maybe a V early, led behind Chris. And USF, can they hold off on this attack earlier, or are they going to let UCF get the harder point?
Yeah, and you see right now, Jujina making an aggressive move towards the side, gets the big kill on a Mr. Pig. And I think they're going to really try to rectify the mistakes that they made that last time and go for B this time. You know, unfortunately, Jujina, though, gets caught on the side angle, gets shot down. But you do have AAA Megan just making an aggressive move towards past this A site. But you do get on now. But I did like that. That was a good play, but unfortunately, it just didn't pan out all the way. You know, try to rectify what you did wrong that last one and actually go for B first.
You give it a shot, and it's kind of like what we saw, you know, with raid control in Cold War, right? You give it a shot off the rip, and if you don't, all right, we just got to go back to A. That's kind of the easier point. We just gotta make something happen. So that's what we're seeing. As now we see this USF player 2. That's going to be Napo all the way at this backside, trying to clear these players out here and just maybe work a pinch. This could be devastating because if these players get wiped off for UCF, I don't think they're going to have time to get back on it. So player 2 and Napo, a huge play potential here to break this game open and take us to a match or game number 5.
Yeah, and you see right here, Chris is going to be holding his top position here. He does see White Chocolate, does get him off, so that's going to be huge. And even almost gets Mr. Pig, but hey, Jujina once again in that aggressive position. Goes for that one, but Napo, nice play right there. Going to deny that A access. And yeah, it looks like that round 5 might be coming closer and closer, but Jujina still wreaking havoc in the spawns. So if he can get over there towards that B, that'll be huge to just stop the time. But right now, there's only 4 seconds left, and it's go time. And A site, though, you do get the first tick. But right now, you have a bit of a standoff coming out here into this site.
UCF holding on. As now USF are flying at it, and they got to be careful because, again, these lives start to get dangerous for them as they're now down about 10 lives. UCF on a quick rotation. They are slaying. That's going to be 3 down in the feed. They're working their way over. Going to try to cut these players off spawn and not let them slip through. 50 seconds left. Lives so comfortably in your favor that they might just try to slay out and win this one here. And USF, they were able to hold, but they've got to get footing and they've got to get positioning now before this hit comes.
Exactly. You hear the straight front being called upon as well. So that's going to be shot down towards the site. But AAA Megan, it's no problem. There's 5 to 4 and 15 in terms of lives right now. 30 seconds. We've got to really highlight that play from Jujina. 26 and 16 made impact in the slaying. AAA Megan goes for a glide bomb kill as well. Now, only 1 player left. That's Napo, and he's left to his vices here. So you really have to, you know, tip it to Jujina there for the work that player did towards that mid-round. Oh, man, that was a close one. But UCF, they win that one and get a nice 3-1 win into 3-0 for the series.
Pretty dominant from UCF. A little lax at times there in the S&D. Seems like they maybe got a little comfortable. I mean, again, they won it in a 3-1 and win the series overall. But definitely against stiffer competition, you're not going to be able to take that mid-series lull spell that they did. But again, come out and get the win here as we take a look at our stats. Slaying on the side of UCF, definitely in their favor, and there it showed more so than anything else. Chris with 3,000 damage, leading the lobby in damage, not quite in kills, as again, just 3 other players getting it done around him. It's even, the teamwork is looking good, and just the non-traded kills, especially AAA Megan and Jujina, 21 non-traded kills, the other 2 players not close behind. And if it's USF, you're looking at, again, White Chocolates, who had a good one, leading in the respawn. So definitely something they need to work on there as far as evening up the slaying for that squad and getting White Chocolates some help in the kill department. But they gave it their best effort, and just unfortunately wasn't enough. And UCF get it done in dominant fashion.
Yeah, and it's been an interesting one indeed. You know, you look at the side of USF and really what they were doing on that map. A lot of the times it looked like they were rallying together. You know, that regain that we talked about. You know, that huddle moment was finally coming into fruition because you know UCF, they took their foot off the pedal, and like you said earlier, they were being a little bit more lax. They were, you know, just weren't doing too much in terms of positioning. But then there were moments of clarity where they immediately thought to themselves, "Hey, what are we doing?" Like everybody, you know, like everybody snap, let's wake up. This is what we need to do. And you immediately saw that. You saw Georgina at the end. It's such a great play. I just want to keep talking about it because it was just amazing. Immediately, that presence in the enemy spawns, in the enemy territory, just piecing them up left and right. 21 untraded kills. That's really was the determining factor for that win there.
Definitely, and like you said, whenever they did snap back into it and start playing, again, it was dominant, and you know, they did what they did, went out, took care of business, and got it done. So it's going to be a 3-0 for University of Central Florida's Knights. USF back to the drawing board, got some things to figure out. Took 2 losses tonight, and after having 2 weeks off, you know, it's that midpoint in the division play. Got to hit the regain, got to really get those reps in, especially on control. And again, just get back to work.
Yeah, as we look at the maps, you know, it was just so dominant from the beginning. 250 to 184, that was really the closest we saw USF ever try to, you know, have any sort of resistance. And then we got to Bocage S&D, 6-0. It felt like it was just, you know, UCF playing the beat of their tune the whole time of the game. And then we got to control Gavatu. And this is really where the playing ground was a little more level. You know, you still had UCF with a bit more experience, but in terms of overall, you know, experience, it was still a little bit back and forth. And really, it came down to that play from Georgina to, you know, determine the win. And so they were easily able to take that dub. And so, yeah, a very deserving 3-0. USF just need to really, you know, round out the edges and sand out the rough spots in their plays and just really focus on teamwork this week in terms of practice.
Definitely. And looking ahead to our next match here, we've got KSU, who we saw earlier in an absolute bloodbath of a series with FSU going up against UT Chattanooga. And so that's what we have to look forward to here tonight. Another great series. Again, with the potential to go the distance. This one did not. UCF came out and took care of business. Our next one with just as much potential. So before we come back and start taking care and giving you guys the rundown for that series, we're going to take a quick break. And when we do come back, it's going to be another blast of a series. I'm Cash. I'm here with OG Susano. And check out the Alpha stream in our downtime, but we'll be back in just a few minutes.